question is from Heem Lanta. That's at Heem Lanta. Could Daniel Jones be the new Sam Darnold this year? This is a question I dove into in the print mailbag as well, so feel free to check that out for a little bit more of a detailed answer here. What I would tell you is that I'm a little bit of an evangelist for these guys, for your Geno Smiths, for your Sam Darnolds, for your Baker Mayfields, guys that, I think were victims of bad situations early in their careers, who went through coach firings, who dealt with different offensive systems, different offensive play callers. I just think that position is hard enough as it is. And I think one of the most difficult positions in all of sports, if not the most difficult position in all of sports. And when you jumble the circumstances on a player like that at that age, it becomes almost impossible. So if you look at Daniel Jones' history, and, again, this is nothing against anybody who had their hands on him over the course of the first 6 years of his career. But if we really go through it, all right, you see over his first 4 years, he had 3 head coaches. He had 4 offensive coordinators. He had 4 different play callers. He, at the very end of that window, 19 to 22, had a breakout year, which led to the Giants doubling down on him and paying him. And then he comes back the 23 season, has a bumpy first month, injures his neck, is out for about a month, comes back, then tears his ACL. And then last year, of course, he's coming back off the ACL. The first year coming back off the ACL can be tricky for players. So that's really his story to this point. And again, I'm not absolving him of blame for this. I'm not saying that some of it isn't on him. So a lot of it, I think you can take and say, A is on Daniel Jones, B is on Daniel Jones, C is on Daniel Jones. Part of this is there is some personal responsibility with it, of course. But I also think that giving up on a guy at that position, at that age, is premature. And, I go back to what Shane Steichen said to me over the weekend when I asked him what he saw in Daniel Jones on tape and evaluating his different options at the quarterback position, is he wanted to create competition for Anthony Richardson going into 2025. And he said he saw a player who constantly was able to find completions. And when he was at his best, he was a master at that. So that's number one. And that's something they didn't have with Anthony Richardson the last couple of years. And then number two, when he started to ask around what he saw, what he kept hearing from people over and over and over again, was this is a guy who has a tremendously high football IQ. And we already know about the physical ability, right? He's big, he's athletic, he can throw it. So, I think looking at him and looking, by the way, at Justin Fields with the Jets as well, I think he put him in this category too. I think both these guys have a shot if their situations can stabilize a little bit. And I think the ultimate example of this going back a few years is Alex Smith, in that Alex Smith had been through 5 coordinators his first 5 years in the league, goes into year 6 then with Jim Harbaugh. It was actually year 7, I think. Was that right? Year 7 with Jim Harbaugh as his head coach in San Francisco. Greg Roman comes in as the offensive coordinator. And they came in and they stripped things down for Alex Smith. And they said, we're going to make this simple on you. We're going to build you back up. And I think that's the process that Shane Steichen's going through with Daniel Jones. Should at least give him a chance. And if he can be what Alex Smith was for Kansas City after Alex Smith left San Francisco, went to Kansas City, if he can be what Alex Smith was for Kansas City, we could be talking about a guy who's got a completely different reputation 3 or 4 years from now. So I wouldn't give up on Daniel Jones.